This is Tristan Hess, and you're tuning in to channel 1177 World History News, the best world history news you'll ever find. Industrialization led to the dramatic increases in productivity as well as to new political theories and social movements. Now here's Jake with the growth of industrial prosperity.
In Western Europe, the introduction of electricity, chemicals, and petroleum triggered the Second Industrial Revolution, and a world economy began to develop. One major industrial change is the substitution of steel for iron, which made it easier for building things like automobiles. Another is electricity. Electricity was a major new form of energy. It could be used for heat, light, motion, and could be sent over long distances. The Second Industrial Revolution was great for many Europeans because their wages increased and manufactured goods were cheaper. But not everyone is benefiting from the Second Industrial Revolution. Europe has separated into two economic zones: Great Britain, Belgium, France, the Netherlands, and Germany, made up the advanced industrialized core. But the rest of Europe economy was still agriculture. Also, the transition to industrialized society was very hard on workers. They worked long hours with little pay and mind-numbing tasks on struggling workers. The struggling workers turned the trade unions and socialism to improve their lives. Some of these socialist parties started because of the teachings of Karl Marx's, which stated that a workers' revolution was bound to occur when it did, it would destroy capitalism, and material wealth could then be distributed equally among all workers. Back to you, Tristan.
Oh, okay. The Second Industrial Revolution led to more leisure for all classes, and women began to expand their education and career opportunities. Here's Allie with the emergence of mass society.
By the end of the 19th century, the new industrial world had led to the emergence of a mass society in which the condition of the lower classes was demanding some sort of government attention. In 1850, urban dwellers made up about 40% of the English population, 15% of the French, 10% of Prussia, and 5% in Russia. By 1890, urban dwellers had increased to about 60% in England, 25% in France, 30% in Russia, and 10% in Prussia. Cities grew quickly because vast numbers of people from rural areas migrated to them. They also grew quickly because municipal governments had made innovation in public health and sanitation. After 1871, most people enjoyed an improved standard of living. The new elite made up 5% of the population. The middle class made up 15% of the population. The working class made up about 80% of the population. During the beginning of the 19th century, men believed women should stay at home and not be able to work. However, the Second Industrial Revolution opened a door to jobs for women, such as retail shops, clerks, typists, secretaries, file clerks, sales clerks, and industrial plants. Universal education was a result of the mass societies in the late 19th century and the early 20th century. Elementary education created a demand for teachers. Better education immediately led to a corresponding increase in literacy. Once literacy expanded, a mass media developed, such as newspapers.
Oh, democracy triumphed in Western Europe. Authoritarianism prevailed in the East. The United States became an industrial powerhouse, and the European powers prepared for war. Now here's Dean with the national state and democracy.
In Western Europe, growing prosperity is leading to the expansion of democracy in Western Europe. Great Britain now has a working two-party parliamentary system. The Liberals and the Conservatives. The two parties often trade power. France is not stable following its defeat by the Prussians. It has taken 5 years for the Republican Constitution to be proclaimed. Italy now has emerged as the United States. However, it has little sense of unity. In In sense, there are two nations to Italy, the rich industrial north and the poverty-stricken south. There is widespread corruption amongst government officials. In Russia, Germany, and Austria-Hungary, power remains in the hands of the emperors and elites. Russia is still under the control of an emperor. While peaceful protesters were trying to present a petition of grievances to Tsar Nicholas II, they are shot at by the Russian army. William II, Emperor of Germany, has fired Otto von Bismarck and pursued aggressive foreign alliance policies that have divided Europe into two hostile alliance systems and set the stage for World War I. In the United States, the Second Industrial Revolution has produced a wealthy society with wealth far more concentrated than in Europe. After 4 years of civil war, the American Union is kept intact and the old social structure of the South has been destroyed. By the beginning of the 20th century, the U.S. is the world's richest nation and is expanding abroad. Crisis in the Balkans. While Ottoman control over the Balkans weakened, Russians and Austrians fought for control, and the Balkans fought for their independence.
Oh, radical change in the economic and social structure of the West created equally dramatic intellectual and artistic change. Now here's Mitch with Toward the Modern Consciousness.
Before 1914, many people in the Western world continued to believe in the values and ideals that had been put forth by the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment. Right here, this is a picture one of our newscasters brought in of the scientific revolution. This was a major time. Another major person in the scientific revolution was Marie Curie. She discovered that an element called radium gave off radiation and apparently came from within the atom itself. But the true person in the scientific revolution was Albert Einstein. He got his reputation when he published the special theory of relativity, which stated that space and time are not absolute, but are relative to the observer. Now back to you in the studio.
And that will conclude our broadcast, and thank you for tuning in, folks.